6 years ago, I decided it was time for me to get rich and that I needed to lock in on being a business owner and becoming financially free. And what I learned over those 6 years of reading books, taking courses, and trying a bunch of different ideas is that it all boils down to 4 separate stages, and that if you can move through them without getting distracted or sliding backwards, you will have a much better chance of reaching financial freedom faster and with fewer mistakes. My name is Lili, by the way, and this channel is where I document my financial freedom journey and bring you guys along with me. And the reason I'm making this video right now is because at this time of year especially, there's a ton of noise about the best business models or ways to generate passive income. And all of that noise just distracts you from the one thing that actually matters, which is clarity. Because if we all knew exactly what to do and how to do it, our path to success would just be a straight line. The things that take us off of that straight line are mistakes or being unclear about what the next best step is. So the more clarity we have, the more straight line our path is to our goals. So if you're a coach or a service provider and you have also decided that now is the time for you to start building more financial freedom, I'll walk you through the 4 stages that my journey has gone through, from the time where my pro basketball career ended with an ACL tear on national television to now having a business that does $30,000 per month with a small team of 4 people. And once you understand the 4 stages that financial freedom moves through, there's a link in the top comment to an AI training where I show you how I use AI tools and assets to make all of this easier to build. So you can click the link in the top comment or subscribe to the channel and leave a comment of your own that contains the word freedom, and I will send it right to you. So step 1 is defining what financial freedom means to you by figuring out your financial freedom number. The first time I heard this term was when I asked the millionaire dad of a kid that I was coaching in youth basketball how he got so rich. And over the course of an afternoon, he walked me through this very exercise, which all started with the question of, what does rich mean to you? And my answer was number focused. I was like, 2 million a year, 20 million a year. I didn't really know, but I know I wanted some millions. And he completely got me off of that track. He said that he wasn't asking for a number. He wanted to know what rich meant in terms of how I wanted financial freedom to change my life. He wanted to know what type of car I wanted to drive, what type of house I wanted to live in, how often I wanted to travel, or one that was really important to me was, what did I want becoming financially free to mean for not just myself, but the people around me, like my parents and my family members. Also, happy December and happy Vlogmas. That's right, I'm interrupting the video to let you know real quick that we are doing Vlogmas. That means every single day until Christmas, I will be posting a video on this channel, but I'm also gonna supercharge it and go as hard as I absolutely can because I don't believe in waiting for January 1st. So not only will there be a daily YouTube video here on the channel, but I'll also be posting a daily school exclusive, which is a video where I go deep on a single topic that probably wouldn't perform well on YouTube, but is super important to your business and your financial freedom journey. The first school exclusive is all about the math of making sales, and I promise this was math that I ignored for so long, and I would have made so much more money if I had just had it broken down in a simple way. And so that's what I did in that video. So let's make this a busy month, because if you're like me, there's no reason to wait until January 1st. Just click the link in the top comment to join school, and back to the video. Only once I could clearly say the real life impact that having money would make did we move on to figuring out the dollar amounts attached to each of those lifestyle enhancements. As you go through this exercise for yourself, just make a list and then go to TikTok or wherever you want to research how much each of those lifestyle enhancement would cost, and make sure you figure it out on a monthly basis. Because this was one of the biggest things that changed for me that afternoon, was to stop thinking about goals and financial numbers on a yearly basis, but instead monthly. Because if you think about last year's New Year's resolution, the time where you think about it the most is at the start of the year, and then also at the end of the year when it's time to make a new one. But what he laid out for me was that if instead we think about our goals on a monthly basis, we are much more likely to revisit them 12 times a year, make adjustments and see where we're at, rather than just revisiting them once a year if we're thinking about things annually. So then I had this long list of lifestyle enhancements and how much they would cost each month, and he had me choose the 5 ones that I wanted to pursue first. They weren't necessarily the cheapest ones or the most expensive ones, but the ones that I wanted quickest. So you can do this exercise for yourself, and knowing where it is that you want to go and how much it's going to cost to get there is going to make the next 3 steps even easier. Step 2, after you know your financial freedom number, is to have reliable cash flow positive income. The reliable part means it's just reliable. You know that it's coming in, and for myself and most people at the start of your journey, that's just gonna be from a job. At the time that I started all of this, I was rehabbing my knee after that injury and working with the Harlem Globetrotters, traveling all around the world. So that's where my reliable income came from every month. The second part though, is that that income, no matter where you get it from, needs to be cash flow positive, meaning you make more each month than you are spending. I was so focused on becoming a business owner that it was really easy to only think about the finances of my future business instead of focusing on the money that I was making at this point and making sure that it was cash flow positive. And this is important for two reasons. The first is that the money you're able to save from whatever your reliable income stream is right now is the money that is going to be the first investment into your business. I get way too many people that tell me they're waiting to get funding for their business or their LLC in order to get started. And to me, that is just a no-go. The first bit of money that is invested in your business should come from your own pocket. And the only way that happens is if you're able to save from whatever income stream you have right now. The second reason this is important is because being cash flow positive doesn't get any easier when you become a business owner. It just becomes harder because you're gonna have even more expenses. So getting practice first with income in your personal life will make everything easier before you get to step number 3, which is to focus on having self-directed cash flow positive income. This means income that's not coming from your job, but is coming from an action that you take in your business. And somewhere between maybe your first $0 to $5,000, maybe you sign a coaching client or you hold a paid group webinar. That is the self-directed part. And of course, we want to continue being cash flow positive because we're not doing all of this work to lose money. A warning at this stage is that I thought way too much about passive income. In fact, it's the whole reason that I started a YouTube channel is because I thought it would generate a ton of passive income. Like, it took me months of effort and time and money spent in order to finally get monetized on YouTube. And when I did, the very first day I made $9.09, which was really, really exciting, but not something that I could live off of. Passive income also shouldn't be your focus right away because not only does it take a lot of time to build, but it's also like really inconsistent. Like, I've had days on YouTube where I've made as little as $9 and days on YouTube where I've made almost $1,500, but it bounces back and forth and is kind of largely out of my control. The income that you want to focus on building as your self-directed income is not the passive income that comes in a little bit at a time, but is the active income that comes in hundreds or thousands of dollars of lump sum, and that you make sure is cash flow positive, and a lot of it goes into your pocket. Because one more thing on why passive income is the wrong way to go. Because with passive income, you take on the expenses and the effort first, and the income trickles in later. So it's almost like you're paying yourself back trying to get out of the negative. But when you focus on building active income, you get paid first for the work, and then you deliver on it. And that's the way you can make sure that some of that money, yes, is gonna go towards the business and what you have to do to provide for the people who paid you, but also some of it is gonna go directly into your pocket, so that you're immediately profitable. This is the step where I had one of those questions that I feel like is asked a lot but not answered a lot, is how much money should I be putting into my pocket and paying myself? I read this book called Profit First, and it gave me this system as well as the recommendation to use Relay business banking accounts to set it all up, which is exactly what I did. And then I reached out to Relay to help connect them with more of you guys because I really do love the product. So thank you to Relay for sponsoring this part of the video. And I'll tell you kind of how the system works so you know how to move the money that's gonna start coming in your business. First, that money needs to go to your business. It needs to go into a business banking account and not into your personal account. There's a lot of reasons that it's important to separate those funds, and I'll make another video on that. But for now, I will say, just trust me. When that money goes into a business account though, you don't wanna make the mistake I did, which was just to put all of my business money into one account, and then I would take some money out of there for myself when I needed it. I would pay a video editor when I hired them, and at the end of the year, I would hope that there would be enough left for taxes. That's a stressful way and a bad way to do it. Instead, the Profit First system breaks down that you want to have all of your income go into one main account. That's just your income account. And then the reason it's called Profit First is because the entire reason you are working on becoming a business owner is to be able to pay yourself for owning that business. You're not trying to just become a self-employed person who just gives themselves a job. You're trying to become a business owner who has an asset. And assets provide you profit. That's why it's called Profit First. So everything goes into income, and then you're gonna take a certain amount of that money and pay yourself profit first for owning the business. And the recommendation in the book is to start off with 5% of your money going to profit. Then the third account that you're gonna have inside of Relay is your owner's pay account. While Profit is gonna pay you for owning the business, Owner's Pay is gonna pay you for working in the business. And this is gonna be a much larger percentage because you're probably the only person working in the business right now. So the recommendation there is to start paying yourself 50%. Then your fourth account is gonna be your OpEx account. This stands for operating expenses. 30% of the income that you make is gonna go there so that you can pay for things like a video editor or an online training, a mentor, whatever it might be that's gonna help you invest in your business to make it run smoother and grow faster. And then the fifth account, which is not the fun one to think about, is putting 15% at least away for taxes so that you have it separated, and at the end of the quarter or at the end of the month, you don't have to worry, that money is there and ready to be paid out to the government. This is the absolute best system that I've ever found for clearly seeing how your business is cash flow positive, where all your money is going, rather than just having it pushed into one big account. Everything is super clear. So there will be a link in the top comment to get your free Relay account set up. And when you do, find me on Instagram and send me a DM, and I'll send you my free course on setting up all of these accounts and making sure they're good to go. So now your business has made a couple hundred or a couple $1,000s, and you want to move into step number 4, which is making ownership income. Ownership income differs from self-directed income because it's more reliable and you are not the only person helping to make it. And this is a really, really, really good feeling that makes business a lot easier and a lot less stressful. If you can go through these first few stages to get here, this is where it all pays off. Because you'll be able to make the same amount of money or even more while working less inside of your business. And you do it because you have people and you have systems who are helping you. The first people that I hired at this step were a video editor to help me pump out more content and a virtual assistant to help me manage posting content, responding to DMs, managing my calendar, all that good stuff. And so that took a lot of time off of my plate and made the business better because everything wasn't relying on me. And the first systems I built were the exact ones that I break down in that free AI training, which is linked in the top comment. And they focus